correct. It's their place. Bwabwata has always been Hambukushu. Nobody with correct history can debate that. So, but it was Hambukushu in Kaprivi. Then, with administrative, whatever, that's when it became Kavango, in Kavango East. So, maybe, to avoid this thing of regionalism and whatever, the government might just create a 15th region between Rundu and Katima. Just create it and name it Kaza region. And then you are done. So create a 15th region there that belongs to no one. It doesn't belong to Kavango. It doesn't belong to Zambezi. And then you have neutralized the problem once and for all. They were not even supposed to divide the Kavangos, to say Kavango East and Kavango West. No. That was a wrong move from the government. The government was just supposed to create a 14th region between Kavango and Zambezi and named it Kaza. That was supposed to have solved the whole issue. Now we will keep going back and forth fighting for land. This land belongs to where? This one belongs to what? We are wasting time with those things. But oh well. That will now depend on how the minister and government is going to handle the issue. We just need to get popcorns and sit and watch. All right. It is 6 minutes to 8. 8 o'clock, I'm going to open the lines. When you come in, I want to hear your views. I want to hear your views. The issue of boundaries is not only about Zambezi and Kavango. We also have that boundary in Ohangwena, Oshkoto, Msati, Oshana. Yeah, but what makes it easier there is because the people are of one ethnic group. They almost speak the same language, so there's no difference. There's no problem. And they are not like Kavango and Zambezi. Huh? Yeah. But you see, that's where you find this is the thing of traditional authorities. That it's good that now I think there is order. Because you cannot just come in on Dangwa and then because you are quite a number of people, and then you think apparently because you are many there, you want to be allowed to establish a traditional authority in the traditional authority. You see, you want to be allowed to establish a chieftainship or a chieftaincy in a chieftaincy, or to build a house in a house. That's a confused democratic right. So I have heard how the issue was going on in Kavango, where, the Nyemba people were asking for wanting to have, their language also spoken in the, Kavango, radio station or Wato. And then, there was a very heated argument on radio that day. I was listening. And then one person came and spoke and said, look, where is your traditional authority? Because you cannot claim land here in Kavango. we have Shambu or Mbunza, and then we have the Duriku, and then we have the Bakwangari there, the Kwangari, and then we have the Hambukushu. So where is the Vanyemba land? Norway. So how do you want to be a traditional when you don't have a land, ancestral land there? You can't be a traditional authority, because a traditional authority is connected to the umbilical cord, which is an ancestral land. We know where Chief where Hompa is buried, or Mfumu is buried there. We know where Umkwanilwa, Ubakwanilwa, Akwanilwa, they are buried. That's an ancestral land. That's a land that, on which a traditional authority is established. You can't establish a traditional authority on a non-existent ancestral land. That's not a traditional authority. So in Ondangwa, there is another community, the Mashaka. And apparently they must also be recognized as a traditional authority. That to me is a confused democratic right. Okay, to me that one is a confused democratic right, because you cannot establish a shop in a shop. So Eagle FM cannot be France FM at the same time. No, if France wants an FM, he must get out of Eagle completely and establish his own. So there's no way you can create a kingdom in another kingdom. It does not work. So that is a confused democratic right. Even if it is ratified by parliament or agreed to by the minister, that is an agreed to.
Do you need toiletries and household cleaners? You won't get it cheaper than at USave up to the 7th of June. Get 2 50mm jars of Vaseline for only 25 Namibian dollars. Smell fresh with Playboy Roll-On Deodorant for just 18.99 Namibian dollars. Get 2 kilograms of Surf's hand washing powder for just 49.99 Namibian dollars. Get 750ml Sunlight dishwashing liquid for 28.99 Namibian dollars. And get 2 boxes of Cares Maxi sanitary pads for only 12.99 Namibian dollars. USave, where else?
So that is a confused democratic right. But yeah, there are those things that sometimes can arise and bring a bit of problem if they are not handled properly. Right. The number in studio is 083-288-401. This is our last hour. This is our last hour. What do you have to say? Come through. Let me hear your point. 081 083 288-401. Yes.
Yes, Sir Frank.
Yes. How are you saying?
How are you?
Good.
Let me quickly comment on the housing land and maybe the issue of the Babata there.
Yeah.
You know, as long as we put middlemen to construct a house and to sell this land, housing and land will never be affordable. It will only, because that is a market. That's a market. That's commercial. It can only be afforded by the people who have the means. But even those that are going to afford them, it will be kind of an exploitative, mathematics. And those who want to, because you struggle to get that house, when you get it, you are unable to to keep up the house, paying rent, home loan, and all those things. It's simply because you put a middleman there. I give an example to say the reason why you see that in a traditional setting, you don't find the people say there's no land, and they are not complaining that the chiefs are not building them houses. It's simply because the mandate of the king and the chiefs are very clear. Is to give the land to the people, and the people build their own houses according to the standards of the customary title, and in line also with what they can afford to build their house. Now, the mandate of the state, as far as urban land is concerned, through the Minister of Urban and Rural Development and the local authority, is to service the land and give the land to the people. And people build the houses in line with the building standards of any local authority. The problem is when we want to make business, when we want to commercial housing. When house shelter is a basic need. That's where the problem is. So whatever you are seeing there, it cannot work. When it works through Be Together, you can see the type of the houses they are building for the people. Sometimes they build what? A toilet. Ne? And that's it. Sometimes they build one bedroom.
Because that is what you can afford.
Because it's a market, it's commercial. It's a commercial because you put a proper developer sector. Or what you call, or you put what you call a PPP, public-private partnership, which is a political-oriented commercial, market. You see, you have to remove those things first if you want things to work. Just let me give you a practical example that France today. When you are working for the government, the lowest person maybe will get up to 700 or 900 subsidy loan if you have a house. But if that person could be given an F that costs even 60,000 or 100,000, for argument's sake, he still have 600 in his pocket to build the house. You understand? Then when you give him that land, he can go get even 300,000 or from the bank as a loan and build his own house. Or he can get that personal loan and get the brother to build the house according to the standard of the municipality. The person insists. But the problem is when the person, you want to build people's houses but who build your house? You build it yourself. You understand? That is the mindset of politicians. And the public must be very clever about that. When you see the politicians' houses and property developers, they build their own house according to their own needs and choice and standard. Now they want to build people's houses. It can never be work like that if we want to solve the housing. That's why a person at the market value and the commercial value, he cannot afford a house of water of 800,000. But when you say, this is the subsidy that you have qualified for the government, then this is the land. This is the price of the land, which is can be even like 40,000. You buy it through the subsidy. Then you choose who, and you find where you get the money. Then we can talk. And it will be cheaper. Instead of just finding already, so the house is 2.5. But it's not the value of it. You cannot afford it. If you afford it, you will not sustain it. You will be like, it's an exploited something. So there, on the question of land, my dear, and housing, the government must go back to the mandate of the state, must uphold the mandate of the state to give service land to the people and to give land to the people in the rural area. That's the mathematics. You don't need a middleman there. And sometimes they will tell you that the price is, local authority has no capacity, has no money. If you want to pay to hear the inside of a century. Just tell people that the state or the government does not have money, but private people have money. That means that's the sovereignty. Because where does the private person, you mean now the private people have more money, they are more powerful than the state? That is not a state if that something is happening like that. That's why you see the state, the government is losing money, and private people are not losing money. Why? Because the private are going in the government to steal money from the state for themselves. There is no way you say the state has no money. Apparently, the capacity is because all the engineer, all the capacity that you have, they are in the market. The same way the private get it in the market is the same way the government can get it. But if somebody say, look, there is no capacity, there is no engineer, look, that's a lie. It's a way to create a market now for the private, and that's what people are pushing. You see? If the private company can afford to get an engineer to go to the bank and get a loan, and you think apparently the government cannot do, that's a total lie. It can do it. In a democratic society like this, no. It's a lie, it's a manipulation of a politician, like that. When my second point, let's go to Babata issue. That difference?
Yes, I can hear you.
Look, we can say whatever you want to say, but there is one point to say, or the jurisdiction and the ownership of anything, including the land and the Babata, is decided by power and public consent only. By two things, by power and by public consent. If you don't have the power, you cannot decide that. If there's no public consent, you cannot solve that. I can give you an example, like for instance, Etosha and all those areas, Grootfontein, out there. It was on Donga land. How did we lose it? Because we were not powerful. Because public consent was not there, it was not democracy. We lost it through because the Germans, maybe they have arms and something. Even the other governments that came over, the Germans came, the upper side came in, even the post-independent government leaders came in. They sustained the status quo. We lost that thing. That's why when you say, what you call a tosha, that thing is not a tosha. A tosa, to choose. It's a way of rephrasing it so that they wanted the original. If you want to erase history, you start changing the names, the original names of the places. Because when you replace it, it will no longer say who was the original person there. If I ask you, what does a Babata mean? Which language is that?
Well, Babata is, everyone is claiming is their language.
But what does Babata mean and in which language?
Well, it means boil water, like boiling, when something is boiling.
Which language is that?
Well, it's Bos, Fwe, Subia, Mbukushu. It's a combination.
No, it tells you that that land belongs to all of them. You understand? That's why when we said etosha, makashi etosha, etosa janumbwa bwa jatokaza fusira jafetoje samani. Etosa mono okwanirwa no marenga toimwe tokato samo oshinamo nishwahara, because there are plenty there. Etosa. Then these people have to change because they want to hide the history, so that it must not have a meaning. But for you to claim ownership, That's how they change the things. So there, what is needed there, it's a public consent. And we are telling you, when we talk about history on the land issue, sometimes there is a point where we have to draw the line and start from there. Ne? And we leave the rest behind. Why? Because you are not going to finish. And you are not going to move ahead because you will be stuck in that conflict. That is where that's why even when the Constitution was created, after all the land dispossessions that have took place in the country, and the borders, they say, for us to save time, let's just respect the borders as are there. And also let's just recognize the property rights as they are. Because if we start with that, we are not going to finish. We are going to go back to the Stone Age there where you try to, I was there, as you put it, say, politely there, we are saying now, are you now going to decide on the geography? Ne? Or you are going to the history of the time period to say, look, this one came this time. Between the two variables now, which one is bigger than the others? Which one is superior and which one? If they are all equal, then what? You find that you don't have the answer. So there, we are in a democratic society. We must go by public consent. Ne? And we must also believe that you cannot create a house within a house. It cannot be, that is the confuse. When you said Omashaka, no, there is no people in Omashaka claiming traditional authority. It can never be happening. Because we all know, those Budu you see there at Omashaka, they come around 1950 something there. Ne? My uncle, he's the one who allowed those people to come there. Ne? Because he was a headman there. So, let's just say, what are we doing with the land? Let's forget about all those nonsense that we are trying to say. Let us make land productive if you want to move as a society. Ownership alone, because I'm telling you, even if you say this is your land, I'm telling you, whoever claiming that this is your land, so let's just respect each other here and respect the history that is there now. To say, look, if we all say, look, that ones belong to what? The Babata traditionally belong to the what? To the Mbugushu. Let it be like that. And the other mistake is the same that you also point out, that the French will say, look, governments sometimes they are making mistakes. Because they don't want to respect, because they are also using those colonial mindset to hide the history. Ne? To say, because they don't want to respect the traditional boundaries of tribes. That's where the problem is. It must be respected. It must be respected. The traditional boundary of the tribes must be respected. Otherwise, we are going to create problems over and over. Yeah, we all know the whole 70% of Ukanyama is in Angola. What you call Oshikango there and Ngenga, that's Ukwambi. So we must respect people, and we must not try this Israel's way of doing like expansion. The Zionist, mindset of expansion in other people's land, and you want to claim ownership, and you want to rename, you want to rename places because you want to hide history, to say maybe you are the one there. Look, if I came from here and I go to China, I will never claim ownership of the Chinese land or anything or culture or try to be. No, I have to live like the Chinese because I go to them. And you cannot also force people. And this is where government is so wrong. To say, look, You cannot be, ne? For instance, we are in children in Ndonga, but they have been taught to Shwanyama. That's total nonsense. It cannot be like that. If you are in Okanyama, then jurisdiction, you have to be taught to Shwanyama. It's a mandatory. But you cannot be in Karas Nama there. But you want to say, look, Namas must be taught to Oshindonga or Osherero. No. You see, but if you bid, for instance, like boarding school, like in Windhoek, then we can talk, because Windhoek is a center of everything. You can build a school where you have classes for Sherero, everybody's there, and everybody choose which language you want to teach. But when you are in Ukanyama, then you say no jurisdiction, or when you're in a Kavango jurisdiction, then you say, look, children must be taught in Oshindonga, in Kavango, in Kaprivi, like in Zambezi. That's totally wrong. If you go there, you must live like the Mafia. If you are among the Mafias, you must comply to the Mafias, cultures and everything. You cannot claim to be taught Oshindonga simply because I know you are in Masovia. It's your democratic right. That is not right. That is not right. That is not right. No. Respect where you are and comply to the rules that are there, according to the tribe, to the culture of that. You cannot come in and to say, look, because I'm a member and we have been there for too long, we also need that. In whose house? In whose house? No. Respect. If we know, then we are saying, just to conclude that, friends, is when we are saying, look, you know when that Eriaka Hangala said, there are ministers who remind them to say, I'm your ministers. Ne? I'm telling you, we must respect public consent.
No, but you see, ministers are correct to remind CEOs, because CEOs also sometimes want to act like mini gods. The issue we have seen with CEO of Katima refusing orders from the line minister was wrong. You see, that's why the minister comes in and he will have to remind you that he's your minister, because sometimes you are also big in age and they are young. So the only line of defense they have is their position.
You must understand the language behind Mr. Tatangala. You know where is the problem? This one, that minister that he is referring to, is threatening the interest, the business interest of the people if they don't want to kneel to his knees. That's what he's telling them. What you are saying is correct in the other angle, but the angle that I'm telling you here is to say that minister is threatening the interest, the business interest of those people if they are not kneeling to his demand. Whatever the demand that say, but we are saying now. What I'm trying to say, look, in a state governance, in this democracy that we are, there is no bosses, there is no here. There is only public consent. You understand? That's why I said that the Bukushu are right not to go there. Why? Because Babata is theirs. If you want, you must come to them. Ne? In the historical, you know, that we have now, ne, is theirs. So they cannot move. So if you think you can send them a letter and you want them to go to you, you wanted to say maybe, no, because I'm government is bigger than what? You want to say the minister is bigger than the chief. It cannot work. There's no subordinate there. And that is where the problem we have in the society. Because we live in a society that has superiority and subordinate. There's no such a mathematics in democracy. There is only public consent. Public consent has no superiority or subordinate. No.
All right.
That's why if you want things to move, you could have gone there and discuss it. So this is what we're talking. But sending a letter, that is, you are saying you are the boss. Then they said, no, they are subordinate. The minister of rural and urban rural development, in terms of the law, is not the boss, it's not the chief, it's not the superior of the traditional leaders. No, that is not in democracy. Because in democracy, there is only public consent. There's no power. If you use power, how much power.
All right. You have my.
There will be nothing there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Mm.
Okay. 083-288-401. That's the number in studio. The Mbuku shoes are saying, look, it's power plus power here. The lower power will always have to bow. Because to them, the letter sounded like a summon, like they are summoned. But at the end of the day, they have also presented the public view that seems to give them an impression to the society that the Mbuhambukoshu are the ones that are having a problem. Because they defied government by not attending the meeting. So we look at it in two ways. Them, how they interpreted the letter is different from how society and public opinion interpret their actions. When this thing of response, it's like you are in a pitch, playing soccer, playing football, in a football pitch. And then while you are playing, somebody deliberately kicks you. Bam. And by that time you are kicked, the referee was not looking. Just for you to kick the guy back and you get a yellow card or a red card. So response is dangerous sometimes. Response is very dangerous. Because by the time you respond, when somebody's kicking you in a football pitch, he kicks you, bam. And then you also decide, I'm going to kick him back. The time you kick him back, that is the time the referee is on you. And you get a red card. But who kicked you? What did you do? Did you start the kick? No, it was a response. But you responded at the wrong time. Or at the right time. For the referee to show the world that he's a no-nonsense referee. Morning.
Good morning, France. How are you? That's France.
Good, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Tega kukufa nao medio poke kwinya ilo mbaranga jande ya tutura mwari omongwa kaya atusingu mwari atu padimbwa.
No problem. Just go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Tati France, for the presentation. I don't know whether it was yesterday or the day before yesterday when you were talking about coexistence. So my understanding there was that you were what you were implying to is that people should live together. So irrespective of their cultures and all these things, and their political affiliation and all these other issues, just like that Kwedi said there that of course, so you should know the identity of your culture, your identity, your true identity, but of course you can still live together. Like he said, where are you going to end if everyone has to claim now, yes, this is my ancestral land, this what, and things like that? With all these things, despite all those things, it does not mean that you should not address the social and the economic challenges faced by the people, especially in the housing. So this was just a comment on the issue of the Babata and the Tangpasa and all those traditional authority and all those people that, So the issue of housing, the model, you have actually spoken well on the model that can be viable in addressing these housing problems. So you mentioned about administrative, although this administrative bottlenecks, you did not mention it, perhaps in the context of the addressing the housing issues, problems. So because it's clear that there are also administrative barriers. Some are unfair, some are, all this kind of things. So but the model that can well coordinate and be coordinated where stakeholders are there, of course it's there, it can be found. So the capital project, the one that is run and managed by led and managed by the doctor you mentioned there, it's a good idea. So there's too much money there. But even people who have got money, like you said, cannot have that access. And things need to be facilitated in a very fair administrative manner. So, and it is actually, I don't know where the problem is, because there was a time also when I was reading in some of these manifestos and during those, especially SWAPO manifesto, where they were talking about that anyone can get money or can buy a house or a dwelling through GIPF.
Limonene akololo internet yendelela toitulirwa moshali. Ove tokupifana tango shimalwa shifike $1 Namibia mawaveli avali nomathele 5. Okujame fikula tetela Aguste fye mamafikelo 30 Septemba. Itokapula ufuto shimalwa shonumba okutulirwa mwe akulolo engenge owelishangifa kontrakta keshe yo Pirates Fiber ile Skyfi. Ototulirwa mwe akulolo lipelo internet. Kupifa fyo $1 Namibia mawaveli avali nomathele 5. Omeumbo ilo mongeshefa eakulo only nongushu. Talela po pirates.africa/Namibia. Nde toli shangifanena.
Always prepared. Pirates.
ShopRite's birthday is in the Major League with major low prices. Get 4 kg Real Good IQF chicken, mixed portion, only 194 Namibian dollars 99. 5 kg Marathon White Sugar for 99 Namibian dollars 99. And 5 kg Top Score Super Maize Meal, just 69 Namibian dollars 99. Valid until 23 August 2026. Get major savings with ShopRite's Major League birthday. Plus, pick a box for a chance to win your share of over $500,000 Namibian dollars and weekly gift cards with ShopRite. Buy any 3 participating products, WhatsApp the code on your till slip, and pick a box to see if you're a winner. Only at ShopRite.
Yes, please go ahead.
I might be speaking under correction, but I think I've heard and read about that. That anyone who can, maybe whether you are working in ShopRite or whatever, you do make that reference most of the time, can buy a dwelling through GIPF. And that can be perhaps the subsidy.
No, Uncle Bono. GIPF is the pension fund for people that are working in government. They are the ones that can go to GIPF and say, I want part of my money
That one I know. That one I understand.
Yes,
I know.
but
I'm
somebody
talking about the people who are working in the. Listen, just listen carefully.
No, Uncle
I'm
Bona.
talking-
The people that are working in the private sector and do not have a share in the GIPF.
Yes, I understand. That's what I'm saying. I understand. I feel like that's why I'm mentioning about Shoprite and others, or even Eagle FM. So there was that saying that you can buy that thing. Of course, perhaps your institution might also you might negotiate and get some subsidized kind of some incentive there. Do you understand?
I think you didn't hear it properly.
Okay,
I
I've
know
heard
what
it.
you are referring to.
No. I understand also when you are talking about the GIPF and all the government employees and those who have contributed. I know that part, but I'm specifically talking about this. So maybe it's just a matter of having to confirm whether there was that proposal or there was that thing in the manifesto that I'm referring to. So, which is a good idea. Just like, for example, if you mentioned that, yes, you can also buy a dwelling and get money from GIPF. It's not only for those who are working in the government. Even if you want to do business, you can as well get access to funding from GIPF. Provided
Okay.
you, yes,
We have reached a stalemate here.
no, you
So
haven't.
what we can do is let's leave it to others that have heard it well to.
I have heard it well. That's why I'm saying that even if you want to have a business, maybe unlisted business companies, you can as well get funding from GIPF.
Okay.
That's not so? My friend. So you want to tell me all those people who are running business and things like that, they don't, no one has got even funding from GIPF? So let's leave that one.
Uncle Bona,
That's what I'm.
let's leave that one. You have
That is-
heard it, but I think you didn't hear it properly.
Oh, it's friends. How many Kanzio Kampanyoka have come here and taught us about issues of that nature?
That's
Can
why.
you confirm from him since you are in the same office?
That's why I'm saying you have not heard it properly.
No, I have attended a lot of lectures from Kanzio Kampanyoka talking about unlisted companies and what, and all these things, the one that can be funded, and the asset managers that are there also to assist, to facilitate your access to those things. So this is it. So I've heard it very well, and I think I've learned something, some of this
Okay,
lecture.
let's meet on Monday.
So now, so the time is gone. So I understand that, yes, maybe let's propose something. It's very important that maybe people who might have contributed here, they are now busy in their office, 8 o'clock. And I think 8 o'clock is the one that is the time you open your line. Eh?
Yes.
And if you find them, their jackets hanging on the chairs, maybe calling, maybe trying to go there and listen or call and things like that, I think that might not so. Otherwise, the program will be dominated by Angobwana and maybe those who might find really little time to so that we can hear more from those other ones. So thank you very much, Franz. So
Thank
the
you.
issue of coordination in terms of addressing the housing challenges is very important. To get a model, some of these models are there already working, like for the capital, the one for that Dr. Shimwa, what's the name again? The one you mentioned. From home. So all those things can be utilized, provided there is a strong conviction from the employers, even
Alright.
your employers.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, to get subsidy and build houses.
Thank you very much.
Good.
All right. Uncle Bona did not hear the GIPF issue very well. So I cannot just go to GIPF now and say I want 200,000 to go and build my house. When they check me, I'm not registered with any GIPF. I don't have any file in there. They will not give me money because the money that is there is not mine. But if I have if I have pension through GIPF, I'm working in the government, I can request a quota of my pension to do that. So Uncle Bono did not hear that well. Morning.
Yes, morning, Flash. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm just laughing even. Even like me myself, maybe I can just drive my driver to go to JP. I need to get to start up.
There is nothing like that.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Even the people who are been in the field, they're only the people who are working for government. Where they're having a stakeholder, they can able to apply for housing. It's what I heard. But apart from if you are working for somewhere, no. How do you are going to qualify if you are not a shareholder? That's the problem. I think, okay, let us go back to your topic. When it comes to borders of village and so on. You see, the problem here, which I see, is our government. Because if you look now, especially there was a dispute between, if you know, Kwanyame and Ndongas about the bordering. Just imagine the way it was drawn up, like, I'm sure, Franza, you know where it's Onuno.
Onuno? Yes.
No, Angwena. Yeah, that is supposed to be a border for Angwena and Oshkoto. That imagine. And if you look where your Nuno is somewhere in the middle, almost near to what, of Kwanyama. Because you have the people who are up to this side of Onga, between Penopenoka, Pindangung, yeah, between Indangung is where the districts are supposed to be, Oshkoto and Wangwena. But just imagine you pushing up to Nuno. It was not going to end it very well. But the problem which I see here is that we have people in the government who are not listening to indigenous people who have been there. Because even if we didn't write the history, people know exactly. So that's why some of them, even if you go to Kwanyama now, we have even Enana Dakamba, Akamba is gone long time ago. But they are still referring to that person. Even it was inherited even that village for more than maybe 10 times head of village, which passed by. And now they are still calling the Enana Dakambaba. Where they go? So is to keep the history the way it is. Because things are moving, now Enana is also a town now. When you see, then later on you heard from somebody from Oshkoto saying, no, we've been here after 100 years. This is our village. And this is what we see, even in Europe, this is what it happened. Even though we know, understand that, yes, at Europe, at a level, they know how to deal with that dispute. Unlike in Africa, we always end up in war. Even though that we are okay, because the way we are demarcating ourselves when it comes to land, we used to know how to demarcate that time of what? When you're having a village council who know exactly how to give it to people. Unlike the way local authority coming in now. They are doing whatever they wish. If you see to one of the newspaper today even, somebody is also in hot water, buying a plot, free plot for 45,000 each. And the people are not happy in that area. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes the way we do things, and when you're doing something for public, and then you're in public eye, maybe it's better to refrain to one of these things not to happen to you. Because you are also attracting, you're not only attracting the people who are already a crowd that, yes, who are doing something, you're also attracting your enemy to get closer to you. Whatever you do, they're always trying to expose you. Even you are doing it intent in the good way. There's always somebody trying to find that little thing which can keep you out. And this is what is happening to Sangwasa. And the thing is that when it comes to land, in Namibia, Kweja, I think it inherited, like, no, especially when you see that the people are coming to have a land which are then given to property developer, which are profit-driven people. And the municipality, who sometimes is servicing the land, instead of giving it to people to build it by themselves, is giving it to the bank to control it. But remember, the bank are there to make money, not there for charity. Not there because you are a security worker or you are a taxi driver to give you a favor. Not at all. It's about the pocket. And that is the problem I think we found ourselves after 56 years. Because nobody is concentrating that, yes, we have these people who are having low income group of people, having a low income earner. What about if we come up with this method just to meet them halfway? Because these people also, they're having family to raise. Nobody fought that because, my friend, just like now when we are having people are having diplomacy passport, they don't care for you to travel to go to South Africa to go and get a visa for American embassy. With a big building there, but you're not able to process a visa. And also South Africa is doing the same also, where Namibians are required to have a visa. But South Africa, when they're coming in there, we don't ask them visa. You see? Sometimes what I'm saying, our politicians, they don't feel the way, they don't have that organized patriotism when it comes to country men. It's all about themselves. And that is the problem where we find ourselves today. Because nobody cares. Even our traditional leader now, they are in the pocket of the politician. That's why they don't care much about their own people anymore. And that is the problem. And if you are going this way, where our traditional leaders, they already have to listen to the politician, what he's saying. If it's a council is calling the meeting, everybody have to listen to the council. Instead of the council to listen to the traditional leader, what the people are saying. Anyway, Master France, I'm sure there are a lot of people coming through.
All right.
Give other people chance.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
Right. Okay. In 1963, was it 1963? Around 1963, 1964, and 1965, respectively, KANU, that was Caprivi National Union, right? They wrote a letter to the United Nations. It's a petition. And when we were debating this issue with a lot of people, they referred me to that letter. And then I asked them, what was the response of the letter? That's how I won the debate, because they would not come to the response. So they wrote a letter wanting to be petitioning that they must be given an autonomy from Southwest Africa. So, and that is now according to one of the historians, Benny Siambango, that is pro, Caprivi. Now, The United Nations 20 years earlier have adopted a resolution. One of the first resolutions of the United Nations after its formation, that they are going to respect internationally demarcated borders to avoid a third world war. So they were going to leave the borders as they are. The already drawn borders, the colonially drawn borders. They need to leave the drawn borders. So, and these guys wrote a letter, and the United Nations simply ignored the letter. They did not even respond to it, did not even look at it. Because they know that these people are calling for what we have already decided not to do. And that is what put the Lozi of Western, province into a serious problem, because they don't have international support with their so-called Barroso-Land Republic they wanted to create. And that is why even the so-called Caprivi Liberation Army did not have international support, because countries have agreed not to tamper with already drawn borders. So the issues of land, most of which are political issues, they're not really to say, there was a reason why, there is a reason why you have for example, the UDP, United Democratic Party, that was banned from participating in politics in Namibia. That's Meshek Muyongo's party. They seem not to have a push to say, well, what do they really want? Because these are the same people that are lining up at the Ministry of Gender every day receiving, food rations. So these are just confused people that don't know what to do with their lives. Sometimes land dispute can be brought up by people who don't know, who just don't know what to do with their lives. Just somebody who woke up one day and decided, we are members also. We want to be recognized. Yes.
Dr. Franz.
How
are you?
Good. How are you, sir?
Very good.
Yes.
The land issue. Let me first maybe start with urban land.
Yeah.
I think with the urban land issue, like our Tatekwedi said, I do agree with him when he says that what people need is basically not housing, but they need land in which to build their houses, because people are actually capable in building when it comes to building their houses themselves. And I think people usually actually speak about the poor choices that the youth are making or is making. But I think once you actually giving people land, you actually giving them responsibility, and would you also prompt their behavior change as far as that is concerned? Because we have a lot of youth that we say they are spending their money, time in bars. But once you give them land, imagine what you're actually doing to those young people. We're actually changing the pattern of their thinking, meaning that instead of spending, how much is a beer? I think it's $27, $25. And how much is a brick? So at the end of the day, when these young people are drinking, or rather when they get their money, they are now thinking differently, because they are thinking of buying bricks and putting up shelters. at the end of the day. And I think the city of Windhoek is actually doing something good, which they started now, where they say that they want to give people that have occupied land, they're giving them certificates. Some have already received certificates of recognition that you are the one that's settling on that particular land. And they say that they're also going to give land, depending on the people's affordability, starting with 300 square meter and going up according to what you are able to afford. And I think that's what people need. All that they need from the city or the council is that the servicing of land. The servicing of the land and the connecting point. Because when you look at land in Windhoek, it's much more expensive to service compared to other places because of the mountainous area that we find ourselves in. But the connecting points, such as your sewer pipe, your electrical grid, they can actually help to set up those things. And we have a lot of companies that also benefit from government tenders or city tenders. Some of these companies can also, some of the suggestion is that they can contribute by volunteering some of their equipment. And this type of company will get a certificate, should actually get a certificate of recognition that you are some of the people that actually contributed to communities when it came to servicing of the land. So if the next tender comes up, those are the companies that should be first considered because they gave first to the community, so therefore they should be considered. When it comes now to a sewer connection to the main pipe, our young people that are unemployed who went to vocational training centers should be able to, the plumbers, the bricklayers, and the electricians, they should now be able to do this for us, and then we should be able to pay the money out of our own pocket. And that's another way that we make sure that our young people that are unemployed, that have these skills, can also be able to get a job from us at the end of the day. And that's how money actually circulates within the community. But giving people land, you are not going to satisfy everyone. Building houses for people, you are not going to satisfy the whole entire nation. But when you give us land, to tell the truth, we'll be able to buy our what? To pay to build our own houses. But we'll also be able to, all that we need is basically just an invoice, or rather a price of this particular land, and then we'll be able to pay that particular land off. The same as our grandparents were and our fathers were able to pay off the land during the apartheid time, because that part, when you get your municipal bill, there's always a segment for land also that you are settling on. Tate France.
Yes, sir. Hello?
Tate France.
Yes, sir.
Going on to the traditional land and the border, it's a complicated one. I can only speak on what I know, and that's basically the land in the 4O region, or what we call the former Ovambo land. Tatekwedi also spoke that Ondonga, its border went all the way to Tsumeb and Otavi, and some actually says that all the way to Grootfontein, because you understand there were actually some that came from South Africa and actually came to settle there. They wanted to create something called what of Transvaal, but they were actually pushed back by the Ndonga kings. One of the Ndonga kings that actually pushed them back, I think it was Nangolo. So at the end of the day, when we look at those particular land, what does the Ondonga people actually identify as their capital? They look at Ondangwa as their capital, but what does Ondangwa falls under? It falls under Oshana. And what's given under the Oshikoto council is basically now your NIPA constituencies and your NIPA constituencies, and then you have the decentralization of some of the offices that has been taken to Omthia, and also Tsumeb is under Oshikoto. But the Ondonga people themselves, they also identify Ndangwa as theirs. So there's always been this back and forth. Why should the border of Oshana be cut through the middle of Ondonga? Because when you look at this side of Oluno, it's mainly under Oshikoto, but the other side of Ondango itself, it's under Oshana region. Why should the border actually cut through that? But when you also look at it, we have this 4-0 region, but when we have the 4-0 region, we have 8 subgroups. So at the end of the day, how do you also satisfy 8 subgroups when you have only 4-0 regions? So, and I think there are certain things that we need to make peace with. That yes, through traditionally, or rather by my subgroups borderline, this is where our borders are. But also from the government mapping point of view, we should also make peace that in order for everybody to be able to have a state of this particular 4-0 region having been 8, I think it makes sense that on a regional point, this is where the regional borders are. But on the traditional perspective, this is where the borders are.
Yeah, because people don't make a difference between traditional demarcating and the administrative demarcation.
Exactly, and I think once we get to understand that, I think we'll make peace with it. Because look, when you look at, I live in Ohangwena region, but under the Ondonga Traditional Authority. But once you actually understand that this is where the region is, and this is where my traditional land is, I think we should be able to make peace with that. Because you can't satisfy all the 8 regions with 4 regions. I mean, 8 traditional authorities with 8 regions. You can't. With 4 regions, you can't. Because the regions are smaller compared to the number of traditional authorities that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is basically just my contribution.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. I think we have done justice to this topic. One of the topics that we have done justice to it. Yeah, so for me, I think there is a problem that the government is, I don't know how they are going to solve it. The government will have to solve this problem because are you talking about the geographic location? Are you talking about traditional jurisdiction? Are you talking about administrative demarcation when you are talking about Bwabwata? So when you are talking about to whom does it belong, are we looking at it geographically or historical traditional, jurisdiction? Or are we looking at a current government administrative demarcation? Which one? Which scale are we trying to measure Bwabwata to determine to whom it belongs? Is it by geographical location, by historical and jurisdiction, traditional jurisdiction, or by current government demarcation through delimitation commission? Which one? That's where the minister needs to know. You have come late. Hello?
I'm not coming to make anything. I just want to propose something to an entity or a company come up with a viable and promotable idea to build houses for maybe, let's say, low income earners, and they want to get money from GIPF. You think they will not get?
No, I don't want to be the spokesperson of GIPF.
Hey, that's what I was telling you. That yes,
no, but I'm sure you got it wrong.
Even this one, I'm getting it wrong.
Yeah, let's not go back and forth on that issue. My time is out. I'm leaving now. I'm heading over the mic.
How it is? how it is. Okay, thank you. But I'm just telling you how it is.
Right.
Good.
All right. So I'm not going to be drawn into a GIPF conversation. My time is out. So my time is over. And I will now hand over the mic to Kuthamasha. And let's meet again on Monday. Same time, same frequency.
My friend, why do you seem so worried?
Ace, I'm planning an event for next weekend, and I don't know how to best get people to hear about it.
Saima, don't worry about those small things. Contact Eagle FM today. Eagle FM has a dedicated team that can travel anywhere countrywide to broadcast live at any event, such as a promotion, organizational launch, anniversary, wedding, funeral, political or traditional and church events, and basically any event that you wish to broadcast on a national level. Call them now and talk to Monica at 081-270-3727 or the office number 083-2888-400. Eagle FM, the eye.
No matter where you are, if you have a mobile device, you can tune into Namibia's #1 talk radio station by downloading the Eagle FM app on the Google Play Store or on the Apple App Store. Download the Eagle FM app to tune into live Eagle FM programming or to listen to podcasts of previous broadcasts. Eagle FM, Namibia's #1 talk radio station.
On Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Our handle is Eagle FM Namibia.
Eagle FM, the eye.
Omutiha gutekirwa kaguna ii matina omjo. Chikao shafathana na nano ngeshifa ya ishiwike moshiwana. Iye moyao ota ingongotitha mwene. Ana ngeshifa ya Namibia ompito mbwana wa oronjika. seithane na omayakuro niirandithomwa yoe yongeshefa yoye okupitiramo Eagle FM Media House ngoye twende twiimemeha ukakombanga nena
natupandule Furansa wetu pembako kujako venduka mbako ngashingao layamo ndangwa yashinime shimvura olilime wilikora na rubanda kapate katoka kokona mtai shirongo sha Mengera hano olubanda lile lidule la njukumano lankwa okamulu ngene ai natango shaninga ali shisha kishanjila okukalapa nena mu programa yetu ya kufamosha oyo haikala rushetu ya kundungi kafana no kushirwa unene twatulongoma ponjira kesho umwadure kukufa kashikae yetu ihoke okutala no mukulala kana kwetu elala kano leto nasha tuongo munye iyo natango Eagle FM ataitangwa koshiwana kucha Eagle FM na ikale no mwenyo umoro mahongwa ayo mawa kutara kongeshefa kutara keshishimwe Eagle FM o radio embarangaja nde nayo moma kufi omoili radio teitondoka no kuli munyunyawushe oyo inokaepa oyo tete inokaepa hoyaike mokaepa koe opuo wapwikine programa doe hano natupandule unene osho shilipo nasho shapumbwa yo okufatululwa nawa nena onyanela onatango eshatuka kalamu mu programa yetu ya kufamusa na Da Silva DJ Da Silva abira mwanye kange wacho shikombusha nangara mu fila machana ngalengali kepokoro yotakunyo ndunga hatukapopisa shikeshi paranyoro shetu kucha omashongo mo bashikibe ngalo no badani bo inyanda no shoyo DJ opongo tudite kucha bashikibe ngalo tatanguna itafutwa programa jani ngifengalo dino ndilo computer dapo mbada ongaro ikeo bene kuyetapo te ipulo ndilo po ikifike pondodo yokuya ipuikinwe ko bantu mabeshe nde abantu mabangenge tabifalma piviro pashiwana anu nahala nande kubafuta unena ashikingalo bopedu ashikalango shafa onwa dini kango mara osho etapo ashikala shiapo ndo sho tapewa oshishona umono kuli twatala ongundana oyo ino shikingalo tatangu nakastyle ndonga kucha topeno shindingiri osho shiri mo IUM nde oshindingiri osho otakuti otakafutwa ike monno monshikingalo 480 opo bakamwenyeke fikwolo oshifane nosho ndengengo watale ne 480 kene keshia kwa no tekse kena dance boy kene keshitalimu oshiputu dilo natangwa apata kuti shashota shikaningwa konfilo mwejo otachibo batula po iko 4800 nde 4800 ayo omoneta nkatopolelwa bashikingalovo ndio tekucha mutu otakalabeli bangapi 480 hano wetenga kucha mwameme ono mwena jeneko vendukirwa nkweli peni no maholi okwaningo ndilo litino 22 shaporwapo nde oshilio tonyengwa ongaroke ilieke nao anutabanyeke kuda kucha ongushuini mayaningo ndilo itai hafodingali pefe kune wafe kuno dola opoike ulandesha ilo nena ulandele nandokana shike ini mayaningo ndilo efimbweli tuliola ningo ndilo nde epei dova no dili unene pedo hano to angengo nufimboli mote ya kilo ngailota fanu akape fomi nde mboli onmoti ambashike ngene kandudite tunakukaleni tuno mitima nokutula ongushu oyo una toyingo tokaninge expenditure doeto kalanda talanga kucha anwaba venashifike peni onge natupandule o dasiliva outea kutufatululila no kwa umbata uju mashikive ngalo ndote o amena mondilindi shishina washashina amemengalo mundakala tate France shikiwe ngalo ndote hatu ningini malela hatushikucha hatu ningishike ya anongene o ndiwete osho nana twapungwa kutaleni tuna abatadengero kona ngondongolo manga ne tuliopo na tutale ngenga tumono kwetu yetu mu program
omutiha gutekerwa kaguna imatina omjo chikawa shafathana na nano ngeshifa ya ishiwike moshiwana iye moyawo otaingongotisa mwene ana ngeshifa ya Namibia ompito ombwana wa olonjika tseithanena omayakulo niilandithomwa yoye yongeshefa yoye okupitiramo Eagle FM Media House ngoye twende twiimemeha uukakombanga nena kala omukwashilipaleki gwimwepo yomoopologhalama dhetu moambo dhengela Selma onola 81 33765 Eagle FM the eye.
My friend, why do you seem so worried?
Ace, I'm planning an event for next weekend, and I don't know how to best get people to hear about it.
Saima, don't worry about those small things. Contact Eagle FM today. Eagle FM has a dedicated team that can travel anywhere countrywide to broadcast live at any event, such as a promotion, organizational launch, anniversary, wedding, funeral, political or traditional and church events, and basically any event that you wish to broadcast on a national level. Call them now and talk to Monica at 081 270 3727 or the office.
Mwanye kange upongane tupesha ilo etuposho shilimo tashinyenge o ngashitwa nombora kucha atupopsi unene obashikingalo mu Namibia o batalelwa ngako uju obadani boinyandwa unene ta mane imaliwa menja to yukame studio ndeko iviloko aya nuteva futuna ndenande noteva ninginganai ngeno ngaloyo oyo netwapungwa kutala no kuindungikana wakucha hano oshimasho shilina nangaipi o dasilivo kuna eshivo muna wamo kumungu ngalo yo kulio no DJ yashina doda kwaterwamu wene atukapulane nakucha ngashingo twetoka style ndonga tatangu nakucha o ipotudiro ine yara kuyanji maliwa elefana dondo ndiro nokune dansa dai osho atula mwashidurikiti adimonasho tate mwanye kange
omwameme
tato ngweke tateko
ngolo ilina mwa pendukana samane na Rwanda
twapendukana watati
wandangwa
ayo ndangwa neno ilina waewa
na indango ulapo
neindango urwapo nande
yalo
nkwetu pamwa kupopify ikoshwana kuja mo Eagle FM mamu
ndi kupandule
ndi
panduro mitenda mwana kupitira mo radio Eagle FM pana ikale na mwenyo ikale teyanje wire no kukondaneka ku anje Maria Fifo sho kuhonga yashi o malaka na mwe radio ya na papitame kwa panshiku kalanda papifa ushwana yenekela ushongoro ilinawa o no petameko na pamokwendula metina shepelango ni bamwe tati mwanye kange ngashamana na Rwanda awala tenga chama mi Abraham ya mwenye kange ya dale lengo pokambebe mo shito mo shitokula shangwe no shikanjoro ongenga tulipo gatikenga bado angwena no shitokula shansati yana tango watu kala tuli ano tulipo pino doropa lono no setre mendata fana kuchongono ya ayam progeni ndine kala kucha nenge ke para dia sheta kucha momba etete na pa momeba wananga ngengi nawa na tata kushire mana pa mweta kukaja shetuka degemo kucha ne pesa na mibia na hatunya ngoga tuna uko cha uko kalata takwatako no kwa vestingo meba ya na pamwe marero ngashinelelo kushipundia teta totarishtifama mirongo kutoka tamna mucha me bana wapaise kwa harvestinga shasha kimana nengo na disio posana ko mungla sia ngiko me bawa na shasha takutonga uche me bawa mwenye
Tati dasiri vane natu popi ovashikiwe ngalo unenenga abatatameke nabo pokati anu aba otaningi engalo diwa no studio daningo ndiro moilongifo mwaita dirongifa no maoli yaikwe kwaningo ndiro ondamo na shikingalo bahapo bamoto be indabyamu tatanguna otwali tuna mo top 10 star nde top 10 star tatanguna ka performance korufuko ndo tati ae umali wabatape obashona nai nawa neke nolefa ya o natango ashikingalo tati ngo bafina afimane kwa twakwatira moyo ne DJ ekwifana ngoko baya ngiro DJ kwetero mambako nawe ino ndiro ne Mike adotorongi fapo ndame kacheke na mushimina shenda na watambulanga ashikonkweni aidulikane na kindila lishimali wapenyo kwa karashu na komambako atu yakwa batadano inyanda alma beshawa veri mushikumungu shirula nabo o ngarwe imbela tadasiriva ototi koshike
andi tamekela hapa tamekela hapa mwanando ku DJ ama ndende nduka ko ke artista ama andi ine kese manokini mikwa ngwatale mona mibio tunu ministry uri pono menawi na watu hapo ko ke pangero pese na kuli atupucha wa mweno ministry we hongo ministry we hongo unanyasha miso wakari perengeni maisha ya kwatela mone mwakatula na baba ato tipo veve no mungu jana kujamenya la davu ko kela kala wanga shan popinga kema jokudana lo kulutura ya kuinyenga na umu kwatelekane aje mengono doma diradro wa ilo mengono dash tadro ku etapo ya deva po pefene taturi ne bari mwasho atufini ni kwane ko ngodi koskora kapenono adruku ya kotakandi kilongero DJ na pamuche kuti aya penilo ngala penilo ngalo you DJ pangiri penya te pra anaka apply iwa pena ilonga yo shikingaro te penya te ka pra ashidi kuno ngono ya mwene de te taposha te standika kovana ya ame umwe omwabo batokoranga shino kuri presenga kucha ande ngono ba idipima itendi kwa indika DJ yako Nande ngo unango by the pin. Tandi kwa indika DJ. Kucha ngo no show the pin. Tandi kwa indika DJ. Litandicha anwa wataka DJ na yako. Amitanditi na pamoko anungenge very pendi mo show pina pena itu filinga opai. Ai. Andika shifatulane momo kwa cheringa. Andika ndina conversation engunda fanalo wapu no wanangesha basi kwa pali na samane sebi DJ sebi na esmona nshikingaro na DJ Paulo kuliko kwa Focus FM sebi na esmona kuliko kwa radio shipi otakana ono tati aya ntina kabla ya kange po kandingo shukange ndala ngo sound datamika ndi school DJ manga ndala ngo sound ya ndinapo ko ya vino aferi atano mulimo ndangwa yo no kabla kuliko ngbono mandamo mane muno mamba ko bona bo mauti ovene ya shimute shimbolo ponete anando mukwa cha ku DJ wala neno no kushivika uchango akaramu shukicha imaya no vipata uchanwa ne celebrity wala ngumani ngoko tokani sango veto popi yo wako ngoro mosho wakufa ongweto ngofende ngomondangwa mashaba atulamo baki ya tekpo mase ya ne mango maot ndigamo sonda onyongo agongol moko koshimalo kina shebe no asara tanonga ko sharike benesele na tina te po pone pona tu penga no afika na pone no hostata onyona na mashaba tantulamo ya nkane mwe batatu mani ngongo masho no mwe batatu ngoma ngoma ya kubani ona mashaba na umwe nantine yamadi kama mbako pongo mwashikongo watata megeta danaso singone hapo dada na muzika bato unole ngoto popiko baivene wasi nuri opo okutyangwe no to uli kukwete yo njali kukwete nakukufanao natango koshima lwashoko ne kupako ngekyo I adengele pondalae esimbolo we apo yokwa unanweli batatu komputawe okulya kwavo unwakwavo okiyangane wapatula wakonda mwinya wapatula mombanga kuti aye penge kogwana efere mafera bali apita pasha mafera onwoi oponguri po mixa ilo embako limwera ningana o quality o mambako na ya shunali pedo tane mongo momunali ano mna kichene ngondiri apa nditi ande mbako lange limwera ina man tene poli ngopo kana kangende kichena ndina problem ande atuningi ngapi ayi kupepona ndo shiferi riva lingona waileng mafera bali apasha la yari ishine tokaja ko oshikandani saishe yapone otikone pombali tatane kuto pombali usikopo ponatu tatane kuto kushinga fimbolo na dawa kwenye amu inao kwaniko shikonga ngepi nongala mwenye na tango risking le shito risking ngala mwenye ngaona tango tamu ya kufika mafida papo topende wa mongula mashaba kwala ngwe mpapo fere yasharaje kutelela nwentreo maoli bakone mwenye ya bali bekubatea na baba mapo fere okafa pole na masere ya bati ngengo unela one kya kuti efikulo yalishi la hepa naliepa kosha kuti kakwalwa kali ngoshimalwa nde nakukufana inafimaneka ongushe kwekupoka malwa kashona nde na ndishikupene kuti ati angene hatutondokere okukuna imarisho na mola shitwalo kumonikiro kushirika sidirise tukaleta mwana kuti amitandiko koshashi estopenge it doesn't worth me ungushiyange tani dukuja ko kondangwa ndiye ko kumbonme ke na fere atana mara mola shi oshirongo nasho shino onjara tena yatatu kuti andi kandi ningine ngairi nushashimwe simboli mwena shaba tuli mu industry hatui nupo pena mwetai molwa leika kakelipo shidulise kuti no shiolevela etwe gengene no DJ amondrege poma veri atano okuya poma yashine paise onota booking ko sounda lesha booking ko sounda na booking ya DJ ndena watero ye kunyata ka DJ ndeto ningalio onshike promoter no shuri penya tango topo pitorongi rivali ne futa mano mamba kwa ikafuta onge shaira kucha ndoto papumwango platform imwe ilipo onga tuli mo industry kucha okay paise mbole yenga notanga DJ hapo pango no kwa booking mambako na bunyo mambako na pamona akale ngengo twanje mambako na kale kali poma vile abaduana okay ningo kwa DJ we puringa pisho bono ndisho mambako wako ndo wako yonona tanga ani ginawe to apangelo jani hiki we poleriani taipo mbata nonande ne onu itakamona moshota tulameshashi itoduku fano nu ukamone mweshito futungera yahino tufana ukamone ngeshito futunge Nenai, go ametoka Moros. You are going to use me or to gain profit. Shosone ponenda ja damo na kutia ngenge nina onwa member ko ilo liga DJ. Na nje ko ango sha.
Yeah.
Esikwango ngonda pula alichama mbakwanga mina ena ngashindana ndiche na maveri ane Mexico ko mbinga imwe to maveri abaino afrata ko mbinga imwe. Maveri atano ko mbinga imwe kembinga dilimbari kanyama toka nyankata na pengo maveri longo wan. Yeah, DJ opondiri ame mwene shashunela o. Chirina to eda ko transport otamana ndino transport yange mwango muri kuriopo ili nali na wa tonu kumave poveri nale todiko simara shosho to kishirongifo shima shomanga. Kiasi adai sangenga songa mongala to matingo bueno DJ ngo ke simola DJ yango otitano kwali penye titano nyo kwali penye. Penye ambolo kwa po apufireva yali kuyataka po akufireva atano na jako nasha. Kuyatadiko ta imwetaka napo yatadiko mitika kwa dona. Moro stressa na frustration. Ya atiane ko
tate dasili mamanga uli opo. Oina kwa nifua imbela. O haye takoshikeshashi ilo liye nakukalata tulapwe kondololo lo bashikibe ngalo po bakale vatarwa ilo venanga kuchae obashikibe ngalo nakalenga tafutwa kuja poshimali washibikepe shashi pefe ngashi watumbula hapo twetongenda
oshikende na o lesikuto tunefimbo lesikepe shashoko kona ikuindala tuka
efimbo tulili na watu ifyo polevena.
Yalo, ndi amanga ndiye koshikumusho shashikingalo.
Yeah.
Amukine ndio etandite mutu ashikingalo. Wako to hapo kama lwakeli nao. Kama ndisukata kalifane shashi genge peno show ndishi DJ yo ipongonda ndapota to ipotete batofanya pesa shenda andipona ne ashikingalo yapo ike ominte dili nando onlongu yo miongo mbali yo miongo natu te apota ambiro wana wata poku ma wata poku ya wata iko steiro ta iko steja da diko ta poka malwa kai yo kwa anditi naye bagotoveri na wajashi buya monongu kuna ave afikireke ta parurande ta vai.
Yeah.
Kakere nande shima na kucha no pamana esimbo. Ngenge wa imenga ku.
Yeah.
Danku nonande ke shimwe washetwa pongo kuchane abavate tanje ifuta ko kakashikingalo ke DJ na voinge shifada data pongo uchote bas kashongangaripi marako oshikuja inolongifa nkwe mitonte kohoro yongoto omanga oveto tolimoka kopigiate.
Yeah.
Ongaro ike yako mangine yanoko studio na pango nchikuta migrako. Ayapo pamadria dronkwe nita ufipo ashe na kofa. Ilaro poneta pendu ganga fiete muto ati nanda ni popia ni tenye yanga adila kutia shona sanga disipeshike. Ene tumalaka ilo ene madira dro kutia onungengo kwa lo kwini folo tulae aningengo ma deo ma exercise tapite mangalo ndino kumpongale ya fapen.
Yeah.
Ndi takufomito
ndio talema ngapo ipindi mbarambara tate dazili.
Yalo.
Imbaya rire omba nai epetawetha ko ombunikire ombi hukusha onjibiro yoye irire ombupu ohatane na wina ikare no masa ko murungu wa indu walirongere kusha umune ondengu okura ko imba una oviune vya peke ko gondola 30 na hambo umwe mumwezi twika ovingi nokukara norupa ondando ya peke yopianja oshimariva owa peresente dano komieve 3 moshimariva owa peresente omurongo komieve hambo umwe moshimariva owa peresente 25 komieve murongo na ivari moshimariva itororera ondengu chimayungura na wakove na wina onyanukite ashiesho imba yekupe oshimariva shishihina omaruhiro imba o maoronganeno ouyebu hakaenena itako na wina rishangisa ntino.
Yeah, natuye komesha tate kuno.
Yeah, ongalo ne okuyetapo ahidiro teteko madiradiro de onoshetapo madiradiro tafulango wakutango yakombaru fulango pe mundo kucha sho atariringa o madiradiro ayiringa eripe de takufomito kucha paise ndapumba nokuyako komwe tipo ikwelenge au music producer nendishiko studio kwa kungo kutelefona kwetu hapo ongalo yeke tepo onongo kulimo atane kutongalo tekitule kuningwa cooking mix kulimo ndangwa ate ndwe kuningwa ku pro handle kuliko koshada tilo kongetiwa ilo te ndwe kuningwa ku chakibita kuliko kenana ilo pote ndwe kuningwa ku yangti yo atakufane tokoro ashimplane ngokulimo ndangwa ndota ikenana kashpese tuja pondangwa tekenana pena minango ngoi okuya olendo ngari olende twalo kwaruka opena efeno miongo etatu
nyokwatira mwikuliane no kunwa hitwimbi
onendo gapo twala ku mola aso principal ndala nendi njajukunu ne nawa yonu amone kutia shima shidinana penyo shipshike penyo shipshike penyo ono ne ngae efeno miongo etatu unene mgalo adini ngako ni me simboli longa ya simba utaka ni ngalo ya longo ndoa tani ngalo simbo kuna pare nyangata ilo mito me yedi mwene na amona ngenge tangola ndola nyingine ndutira ngopwikine ta kwena ngo mo michomilo kengula kwi omipoikala iwa no ai na washoshe tukeno nuna ndoko ngulo shitoka kofa mipo wa manguluka nao wafudapo ini mayo marushana something oko akufane kom adone kufa komeka iro ayo ya oke unane kota uto kwa tra mwikuri yae no kuna kwa yuti ana omeva takana ilo kutringa takana ilo takana o kendera hapen nango kala akwatera yotai ngawasha kucha o koste ike mangina kukwatera kufuta como tipo indru obi kwerenge ogana po masere atatu okay yotai ne munya ndalo ngalo alongale una na instrument kandina instrument amsho kwa kuimbiro kandina okay instrument bitali bitali na masere ya manongenge neno mbire yotai manjato yotai ndo masere ya man masere ngoinga okay paisa ngalo ishia kwa tango de wino masere ya vat para mano kunya taweta ko masere ya man ongalo ya pako okay vino masere ya avali nankwatira no rendo la eri masere ya tatu ngalo to fine vino masere ya tatu okay oyo shimaru atapia ne pengon o shashine kuna ne bita otame kine twidijim ande ne melody kutomono lyo mago tashikupula ulera ndo o mindo milongo natu yomwe sipo ikwerengete tapone ebita okay no kupusha kwe odota megene to tetano kola sayo manga opo ituwe manata yala kucha okweta pone simbonolo kweta ponga simbalane yenge no kuyo onina kala moela simple ande vita sikafonano ongalo opo yepo yengo dishona ongala tawe yapo ko studio tadiko ndita diko na adiwe ke no temo yaje o aika mastwa ongulario no aka kofa ponde ta kala elira mo kwa chomwa lo kasisi o simbonia to dima mo tipo ikwengina talunse la tani ke tala o nulina olo lokane o ikole atlango ne pate na taeto ngalo penele yetaka kofa pone yetateyali kushinando kuli kutape yetatuilo ngari lo ponlongo yetimastane opone ikale tainyenge nawa iko vitreme jukebox ya wivaka wikufa kwa YouTube nganda nande sora imai o ngalo imai ke yapo o nshikingalo yande no apumba no abuma ine ngalo tako yapo peta tuwa hapo ngalo abuma ine ngalo tishona ndiri tatu kuvapo atane ko average
Yeah.
Koni manenga la shida kwa tota mastwa muto wapu manenga ya kwa shimba mata impola imarangisho na mayo nonga na atano ya pombata amu ya ni oka yes bio ko taka tuwe ngalo iloka CD unimano akudize ino onitazize ino kakava koka CD okweshitake ya komanu guwetu tiashi mashimbo leo shiringa noago masho yapo oyapula sasa nocha promotion isivike nongalusivike onno promotion abashake siko kwelo kote kutu bapo ashimba waludi bashiri yashike simbo shikingalo kutumina ke okalinga ko WhatsApp ko Facebook ko kweli kesto kata ko TikTok yo onno de kwetu kuchashimba ngana kwando spawe ya yo 70 yo iko pesi o ashindulika nesiku yapula kwande namungula ata mutatura kwa ino mungula kamga taki
yo kwalele kina kofa fimbo mukuli mu studio mopanga mnano mbeti
como studio kame mbeti studio hapo wambo tote se pononguli ya shingengi nando akala fiko aminanga mu studio wakofa ikesha shopo to fero kwenye sito dikwa ni siku sikolo onye okukarato ngashi kastela tatutia ima lo hace capoma seria ni no mi ko etat olo etukano la kulambini ka utando inde mutu diminepo na kala mide ngeno atire ke ashi kingalo ngenge na nyumuna social responsibility basere ngoan atukumbe pafapa uye uningire konguno na opovu dena wa inocha no kuli hoy no kuipolo motari ka tatindire ngengu no social responsibility as an artist or as a DJ baselengi no lomba ngi masere ya nino milongo etatu ya ita ashibirika ndikutaye ko mungo to mukucha embruke pale digira dikolonyeki shirongo obo mutu onkolonyeki wotete no nashiko ngenge itatu duru okufuta ana batala kulongifa inatulinga inayo inatufano bashikinga inatufane piche shashita tuku bafuta ngenge nandini ngenda yo ndalo shoko bandi tendu kufuta ashikinga nini ngesho uga yashi otashike kala shafo dino bogana ga ilondi chiko dino lela unashikucha taduru kucha ekupeke omasirani no miongo etatu iyo andi kupeke eyovi mara ashikingalo ufana poveri miongo mbali sikwepo ufana poveri batano obeto iloberi ba mano beto tane bitoke ngoke mu miongo mbali keshi mugani nipo maya beri abari miongo ni ondo fana beri batano iyo nende kitulango nande rutano eti mutuke himada tekona ndamno maya beri yani shikwane kutono kuli mo pole tipen ilo ai ane neikaleka ni beri babari wa keshi mugani nipo ya atano ofilo amanda maga ni pa tatu ikulwa ani siko pongo wetongo ukia ono tati pongo tatu kala ndelo kana mboloto ngadi ngota tupu kala ekirandelo katalangika eka faka project kamanda otashituka shivyo okwepo de inocha ayo masirana miongo tatu yakwete etwani ndizo andame shiri o debi mo apa andi kini ngande inasha ngengo o kealo lo eno komatira atiro to duku batirange nakamuna mikuba tiringo skuri mwene monga la mwenye ilawan ngao ashidino kashi so naye mwene atu wonchi bala sisi aye